Hey everybody, thanks for coming. Welcome to the Herbal Study Hall. I hope you all have been having a great couple of weeks since we last had our Herbal Study Hall gathering. And tonight we're going to be talking about lemongrass. Good to see you, Ann and Jamie. Thanks for coming. I have this growing out in my garden and I will be harvesting it. So this was a fun one for me to do, just to get some ideas of everything that I can use it for, as well as some tips on harvesting it. So we'll be chatting about that tonight. Before we get started, I need to do our disclaimer, and I don't have it right in front of me, so I'm going to do this from memory. Let's see how I can do. All of the information presented in this live is for educational purposes only. Herbs and herbal medicine are a great support to your body, but everybody's body is unique and different. And before trying any new herbs or anything like that, make sure that you speak with a physician or other healthcare provider. I am not a healthcare provider, and I am not telling you what you should or should not do for your health. I'm providing you with information, so make sure that you do your own research. And for anybody who has any chronic conditions, definitely if you're pregnant or lactating, anything like that, just make sure proceed at your own risk with any herbs and be careful and all that good stuff. And I think I totally strayed from my usual verbatim that I do, but you get the gist. This is all for educational purposes. And we're going to be chatting about herbs as well as herbal traditional uses of them, how they might be used, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Native American medicine, and Western herbalism. So that is our goal. And we do this every Tuesday-ish. I was not here last Tuesday, and I will occasionally skip a Tuesday because things are really busy. And for anybody who doesn't know me, who may be here or watching the replay, my name is Tammy, and I am a herbal student attending the East-West School of Herbal Medicine. You'll find them at herbwhisperer.com. Working on getting everything I need to have put in place to apply for my registered herbalist designation. And I have been studying herbs for many, many years, and it's definitely a great place to start. Start with studying herbal medicine and herbs in general, because when you get to the place where you're attending any formal education or applying to the registered for the registered herbalist designation, all that knowledge that you have about herbs is going to come in so handy. That's one thing that I have found. Good to see you, BNUS Odyssey and Jennifer Ocean Homestead and Pretirement Days. Thank you all for coming. All right, let me go ahead and I'm going to get ready to share my screen. Anybody drinking any kind of tea with me tonight? This cup was a cup that I won from Gail's Southern Living. And if you're a channel that has like coffee cups with your channel name or something, feel free to send it to me and I'll call your channel out during this live. But this is from Gail's Southern Living. She's got a great channel that talks about gardening. She does cooking, some healthy living kind of things, just all kinds of good stuff over there. And she's just a sweetheart of a human being. They don't make many people like Gail. So I hope you all go and check her out. Hey, Lori, thanks for coming. All right. Tonight, what's in my cup? I am drinking some coffee with ashwagandha, cinnamon, and a touch of stevia for sweetener. That's what I got in mind. I felt like I needed, that's what I needed. I should have done lemongrass. And an amazing tea with lemongrass is supposed to be lemongrass and ginger. So I'm really excited to have that here soon. All right. Let me try to share my screen real quick. Hold on one second. Okay, that's not it. Let's see. Okay. Doesn't look like I'm frozen, so yay. All right, let me scroll back up on this guy. Hold on. And I'm going to get this on my phone so I can see the chat while I'm sharing. Aw, that's awesome, Jennifer. There's a means to everything, that I'm working on. I have like some I'm really working hard on all of my monographs, and like I mentioned to you all before, it is such a great experience doing it. You think you know an herb, right? It's almost like that old saying, you think you know someone. So you think you know an herb, and then go do a monograph on it. And you're going to see a side of that herb that maybe you didn't see before. So that's kind of what's fun. I like that. And I have found that with every monograph that I do, that I'm learning something new about it. All right, now I'm in there so I can see you guys. It's got me at a commercial. Okay. Yes, thank you, Jamie. All right, so lemongrass. Let me give it a shot at this name. This is Cymbopogon citratus. That's the name. You notice there's like a little bit of a citrusy kind of feel to this last part of the Latin name. It is from the Poaceae family, also known as the grass family, and it is a very grassy herb. It's very aromatic, and it's perennial grass if you live in the right climate. And where I live, it's liable to not grow back next year, especially since I have it in a pot. So I'm going to harvest all of it at the end of the season and just grow it again next year. So it grows in dense clumps, kind of like, it's almost one of those grasses that you would buy. What do they call them? Just to have them look pretty out there. It's almost like that. And I'm at a loss for the word for that, but it is almost like that. It's a beautiful, beautiful plant, and it'll grow 1.5 to 2 feet tall. Long, narrow, bright green leaves. They're beautiful, and they are also high in essential oils. And as I mentioned, it depends on your climate. So they love warm, humid climates and well-drained sandy loam soils. I have them ornamental. Thank you, Anne. Yes, ornamental plants. Hey, Rushing Wind Mountain. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate that. So it can be an ornamental. Like, why not? And I also read that people like to put them in containers next to their doors. If you have, a sunny spot next to your door, because of the fact that they help fight off like mosquitoes and stuff. And I love that idea. They also prefer the well-drained sandy loam soil, easy to do in a container. My lemongrass is in a large, one of your larger containers, and it has really thrived. I'm going to be able to harvest a lot of it this year. So the leaves are very long and they're kind of like blades, grassy, right? Commonly used in teas. Well, teas and infusions are kind of the same thing. Hold on, let me edit my notes. Commonly used in infusions, decoctions, steams, and culinary preparations. And we can talk about all of these uses here in just a little bit when we get to that section. So as you know, they contain that, lemony scent, which is wonderful. Love that scent. It's why I also love lemon balm, and I also love lemon basil. So lemongrass. And up until now, I have to say, prior to doing this monograph, the main way that I used a lemongrass herb was kind of like it was as an ingredient in an herbal blend just to impart or help to, make this full lemon flavor. Like maybe I had lemon balm and lemongrass both in there because they both have that lemony flavor to them, but they're a little bit different. And I felt like it just rounded out that flavor profile. So I would use it like that. I never really, considered any medicinal aspects that it might be bringing to a tea because I just used it for the flavor. It is just that darn good. And as a matter of fact, it's commonly used in cooking, especially like Asian cooking. And for that, the stalks are used. That's like the lower stem. So I should have brought one in from my garden. Darn it, guys. Sorry about that. You'll have to, look into this. Maybe I'll pull up a picture for you. But they're round at the base, right? And then they come up and they start to turn into a blade. When you harvest it, you're going to cut down at the base, at that round base. So you'll need to use like your garden shears to be able to cut a stalk off. And you'll use that bottom fat part about 3 inches up, where it's not too hard. And then you'll slice that and use that to cook with. Now, when people are collecting this out of their garden, they'll cut it down at the base and they'll just wrap the whole thing up kind of on itself and stick it in the freezer. I thought that was really cool to see that people did that. That makes it real easy. Now, of course, the long grassy part, you can chop that up, put it in your dehydrator and dehydrate that for some herbal teas. But to cook with, you can save, a little bit of that leaf, but the bottom part also, wrap it up on itself and stick it in like a gallon bag and kind of roll them that way. And you pull one out to cook with whenever you want to cook with that. I thought that was really cool. And it's kind of like a bulb at the base, like I mentioned. And that's the part that's used to add to like broths. They'll add it to rice. I did see in a couple of different places that some people said, yeah, I'll put it in a tea bag, that's still that bulby part, and add it into the liquid when I'm making my rice or my soups or my broth or my, roux, whatever it is that they're cooking, their sauce or what have you. And then they would remove the tea bag because they said that it was still kind of tough and they didn't like that. And then I saw some people say, it's not too tough for me, I'm cooking. So I don't know, difference in people cooking and how they do. But keep that in mind. Maybe the first time that I try it, I'm going to put it in like a tea bag just to make sure, I'm not, throwing, I want to see what it's like first, but then you all can try it and let me know. Has anybody here cooked with lemongrass before? Just curious. If you have, share down in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, share in the comments what you have cooked with lemongrass. I'd love to hear it. And all right, so we're going to talk about essential oil, and I will bet everybody here has used the essential oil. Can you share in the chat or the comments? Have you used the essential oil, and what have you used it for? I have, and I'm going to share with you a recipe at the end of this. I've used lemongrass essential oil, like in an aromatherapy blend. I really love it for that. I have not yet used it for like a salve, and I don't think I've ever put it in like a lotion, like if I've made a lotion or something. I don't think I've done that either, but I have used it in the dog shampoo to prevent ticks and fleas. And I've also used it in an insect repellent spray. So it's also one of the ingredients that I have for that. So that's how I like to use the essential oil. All right, let me see. Moving on. So the constituents, the main constituent is citral. Also, there is nerol and geraniol. But the citral is the dominant compound, and it's often present in more than 75%. And there's also minor constituents, limonene. You see limonene also in guess who? Like limes, right? And lemons. Also this beta-myrcene and citronellol, which is also found in your citronella plant, which is also an insect repellent. So again, sharing these constituents, just reminding everybody while I do this that there's a reason to pause and look at these. They might seem like they contain a little more, science-y kind of stuff than what you might be interested in, but they give you clues as to what the plant does. So if you start to read them, you'll start catching, some consistencies from one plant type to another, and just help you to better understand a plant. All right, we've got some feedback here that I'll share. Ann Philbeck. I made lemongrass oil, rubbed it on my husband's side and his back. The lemon smell was all over my house. Awesome, Ann. I bet it was. I just love the smell of lemongrass. It's wonderful. And it does contain vitamins and minerals. So, great. Another reason to put it in your food and use it as something to cook with. Contains vitamins A, and then your B vitamins, B1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Also vitamin C, and small amounts of some minerals, including calcium, magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, iron, manganese, trace amounts of zinc and copper. So all kinds of good stuff. Hey, Troy Sutton, thanks for coming. Energetics, this plant is slightly warm and slightly drying, which I actually found that interesting because I was expecting that it might be, either neutral or maybe slightly cool, because I think of lemons as being a cooling fruit. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The taste could be, some people describe as acrid. Acrid is another word for pungent. Also slightly sweet and bitter, according to Ayurveda. The channels, and this is TCM channels that are impacted. And when we talk about these channels, we're talking about acupuncture channels, I guess. If anybody's ever seen like an image that has like acupuncture, for example, your gallbladder channel goes like down your side, even into the top of your legs on the side, your outer thigh, I guess you could say. Those are your channels. If you understand what channels they're going through, then that helps to give you a clue of, what that herb might do. So lung, spleen, and stomach. Actions include, it is a carminative, an antispasmodic, a diaphoretic, a nervine relaxant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, and antioxidant. Remember, and I guess for some people, maybe they haven't, that maybe this is the first monograph live that you've seen, but where I'm pulling my data from is different textbooks, and I will share those references down at the bottom of my monograph, because in the future, when I'm referencing my monograph, I want to know where I got the information from. I might want to go look at it again. So now that we went through like actions according to Western herbalism, we can chat about TCM actions. Hey, Bob and Rico, thanks for coming. All right. To all of my TCM students, here we go. And anybody who's not a TCM student yet, just keep listening, because all of these pieces of information that I share are going to start to come together for you. So TCM actions. Lemongrass moves chi in the middle burner. Remember, in TCM, the upper torso is thought of as 3 separate burners. Your upper burner that includes like your respiratory system, your middle burner that includes like, your gallbladder, liver, and your lower burner that contains like, more of your GI system and your sexual organs, right? So it moves chi in the middle burner. That tells us, does something with digestion, transforms dampness, harmonizes digestion. There it is. Releases the exterior when mild fever is present. It calms the shen through aromatic regulation of chi. Hey, Bob, thanks for coming. All right, moving on. Ayurvedic actions, it balances your vata and kapha and may mildly increase pitta. In Ayurveda, you've got 3 main constitutions of people, and a pitta person is somebody who might be your type A personality. They might have a tendency towards, high blood pressure, stuff like that. You getting a feel for this? Your kapha person is somebody who might want to sleep in and for like a long time. Like they could sleep really, really well. And they might also be prone to gaining weight, and maybe on the spectrum of being somebody who's cold a lot or somebody who's hot a lot, they might find themselves more cold. And then your Vata person might be somebody who tends to be more thin, and they also might be real high energy, like a lot of nervous energy in that person. So Ayurvedic actions, now when I tell you this, it might, it might come across a little differently. It balances your Vata and Kaphas. Think about who those folks are, and may mildly increase Pitta. All right, Ayurveda. Now we're going to talk about traditional uses. So Ayurveda, it kindles your digestive fire, reduces ama. In Ayurvedic medicine, ama is toxins. So when we talk about reducing ama, we're talking about getting all the bad stuff, clearing out your body of toxins. Maybe it is not just cleaning out your bowels, but it could be like clearing out cellular debris, as your body goes through its regular functions every day, and your blood cells are being renewed, and there's other cells that are at the same time are, dying like they're supposed to be replaced with good healthy cells. It helps that to happen. It also clears head congestion, and it's calming and soothing. That's an Ayurvedic medicine. And then some folk and country specific uses for digestive support. So think about to treat gas, cramping, or just somebody who has a sluggish digestion. Lemongrass would be a good ally for that. Also, nervous system relaxation. So great for addressing tension or any mild anxiety. And I would say that's twofold. It could be included in a tea. Like, here's the tea I want to make. So this is one of the recipes that I'm going to share with you guys. Combine your lemongrass with your ginger. And how about when you make this into a nice warm tea at first? You could make it cold later too, but first you're going to make it warm. Add in some coconut milk. Oh my goodness. Doesn't that sound just absolutely scrumptious? And then if you would prefer that to be cold, pour it in a bottle and stick it in the refrigerator so that you have some for later that is cold. Also, it helps to support fevers because it is a diaphoretic. Remember, that just means that it promotes sweating. And because of that, it helps to bring down a fever. It's also anti-infective, so great for your respiratory, GI, and topically. Antibacterial, right? So it would be great for any of those. Also anti-inflammatory. So if you will recall, Anne just shared that she just put some of this on her husband's back and his sides, and I'll bet you that was great for his musculoskeletal system, and helped with any like aches and pains. It might not be your biggest one for muscle soreness or back pain, but I'm sure that it feels amazing. And with that aromatic smell that comes with it, just helps you to further relax, and that's all a good thing. Also for circulatory support. So it has some traditional use for high blood pressure. Yep, and Anne is sharing with us it did work for that. Very cool, Anne. I might do that. I might have to make a salve from this. Anne, can you share if you put anything else in that salve, or is it a salve, or did you just infuse an oil? Curious about that for starters. Is it an infused oil, or is it an essential oil that's been diluted into a carrier oil? Curious about that too. Inquiring minds want to know. You used it. I would probably infuse it in an oil, and I'd probably select olive oil, because olive oil, if you do the research, olive oil has a lot of research that's been done on it all by itself with nothing else. Oh, she used olive oil. So olive oil is known to help treat musculoskeletal pain all by itself. So it's a great base for any pain oil. So I'd probably infuse it in that. And then I would probably also add in some essential oil of lemongrass to it as well. Did you do that, Anne? Did you also like add in some essential oil of lemongrass too? I'd probably do that. Maybe even like some marjoram, essential oil of marjoram, which is also great at treating pain. Um, all right, moving on. Circulatory support. So great for high blood pressure. So great to include like in a tea, in your food. In India, it is used medicinally and in making perfumes. And there it is also a traditional remedy for high blood pressure and inflammation. It made the smell, she did, and it made the smell stronger. I'll bet. Sounds amazing. Oh gosh, that'd be great for like, like if you did a foot soak, like at the end of a really hard day and you just needed to just unwind, just a really nice foot bath, and then, put oil on your feet afterwards of that, that'd be wonderful. So in Brazil, they make a tea that's known as abafado, and it's used as a sedative, also for GI troubles and to treat fever. Southeast Asia, it's culinary herb, digestive aid, and an aromatic tonic. I love tonic herbs with a wonderful safety profile. Those are wonderful, and this is one of them. So here, looking at your safety considerations and contraindications, I mean, this guy is a very safe herb. It's used as food. The essential oil, some people might be sensitive to that. Like many herbs, most herbs, if you are pregnant, you need to be careful about using this in high quantities because it is antispasmodic. And also, we mentioned earlier, it might increase pitta in some folks. And use caution with GERD or heat signs because it is a warming herb. But again, I don't know. You'll have to see how you do with that. Thank you, Jamie. All right. So now let's talk about preparation with this. So as an infusion or tea, you would use 1 to 2 teaspoons dried, or in 8 ounces of water, and you want to steep it for 10 to 15 minutes. So when you're making an infusion, you want to boil your water first, pour it over your leaves, cover it, and let it steep. And you could drink that 1 to 3 cups per day. Also, for if you wanted a decoction, that would be used with the fresh stalk. So you're talking about that bulb part down at the bottom. And you would take 1 to 2 crushed stalks and you'd simmer those probably in like a pot of maybe 5 cups. When I think decoction, because you're simmering them, I always think about making a bigger batch and then you have some left for later, right? Because you're going to simmer it for about 10 minutes and then you can pour it off and you can retain some for the rest of the day. But again, you're using your infusion and your decoction if you're not just using it as a flavor herb like I've done, and you're specifically using it to treat digestion or helping somebody just to relax and handle stress or support blood pressure or something like that, then you want to drink like 1 to 3 cups a day. Same thing with the decoction. For tincture, you would do that at a 1 to 5 ratio, 40% alcohol, and that would be 2 to 4 milliliters up to 3 times a day. Essential oil, I only advise people to use essential oils topically only. And you got to make sure it's in a carrier oil at 1 to 2%. All right. Anybody have any questions for me so far? You can make some amazing aromatherapy blends with lemongrass essential oil too. All right. Moving on. So these are the references that I used. Adaptogens, herbs for strength, stamina, and stress relief. Herbal medicine from the heart of the earth. The modern herbal dispensatory. Western herbs according to traditional Chinese medicine, The Way of Herbs, and the Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook. So those were the books that I was referencing when I was pulling together all this information. Now, I did look into what kind of clinical trials have been done in this herb. That's one of my favorite things. That's like my career path thus far has been in clinical research. So I always love to hear about the non-clinical and clinical research that's been done on an herb. So lemongrass, aromatherapy for sleep quality and nicotine dependence. So if you know anybody who's gonna, try to quit smoking, have them incorporate some essential oil aromatherapy using lemongrass as part of their support as they come off of that. There was a randomized, which means you had different groups of people and it was randomly selected which person was going to go into which trial. Placebo controlled, so they got the real thing and then they probably got like the lemongrass versus a fragrance oil. And they created an inhaler in smokers with poor sleep quality and moderate to high nicotine dependence. And the outcomes of that showed a significant improvement in their sleep quality. And they use the PSQI scores for measuring sleep quality. That dropped from 7.84 to 4.42. So that's a significantly significant decrease. So that supports that research. Also showing a reduction in nicotine dependence. Look at this. Using the FTND assessment, that it dropped from 7.36 to 5.02. Now, I know that, you might, well, you're probably not going to know what the PSQI assessment or FTND assessment is, but that kind of, you don't need to. You just need to know one is a way of objectively measuring sleep quality and objectively measuring nicotine dependence. Okay. That's, if they can have these scores and you can ask some quantifying questions to be able to gauge the real change, not just somebody saying, I think I'm sleeping a little bit better. That it's better than that. Right. And you can tell, like, for example, the sleep improvement was almost cut in half. I mean, that's pretty significant. And this went down by 2 points. So that tells you in this scale, a 2.5, almost actually like 2.5 points almost. A 2.5 point drop is pretty significant when you had a placebo group that showed almost no change at all. I love that. I thought that was great. All right. How's everybody feeling about lemongrass? Did anybody grow it this year? If you grew it this year, drop a 1 in the chat. If you think that after hearing this, you're going to grow it next year, drop a 2 in the chat for me. I'd be interested to hear that. It was my first year growing lemongrass this year, so I'm pretty excited to cook with it too. All right. This next clinical trial was a study determining the anti-inflammatory effects. And I love this because I have a background in specifically kidney disease research. So this was interesting to me. It was anti-inflammatory effects in chronic kidney disease, patients that were stage 3. And this study was done in 2025. It was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. Awesome, BNUS Odyssey and Anne. Real quick on stages of kidney disease. So a lot of people, anybody who has hypertension, you also would measure at stage 1 kidney disease. It is what it is. That is not a big deal, but it is what it is. Anybody with hypertension would measure in with kidney disease stage 1. Look it up. I'm not telling you a story, I promise. Stage 3 is like, that's where most people know at that point that they have kidney disease. They're probably seeing a nephrologist, and many people will stay at stage 3 for the entire duration of their life. Stage 4 is where your kidney function, and we're talking about your GFR. If you look at your labs, it would be your GFR your GFR lab, it would be very low. Above stage 3 would be above 60. Stage 4, stage 2 would be like, I think I'm going to guess 60 to 80. It's been a while since I saw the numbers. Stage 3, I think, would go from maybe 30 to 60, if I'm remembering correctly. And then your stage 4 might go from like 20 to 30-ish. Your stage 5, those are patients who have to be on dialysis. So their kidneys are no longer functioning like they want them to. So just to back up again, this next study was looking at anti-inflammatory effects in chronic kidney disease stage 3 patients. So these are your otherwise pretty healthy patients. So lemongrass leaf extract reduces inflammatory biomarkers in non-diabetic chronic kidney disease stage 3, a double-blind randomized control trial. So that's what it was, looking at lemongrass leaf extract at reducing inflammatory biomarkers. This was a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial, tested 900 milligrams per day of lemongrass leaf extract in non-diabetic CKD stage 3 patients over 90 days. So for 90 days, they were taking this 900 milligrams per day lemongrass leaf extract. And at the end of the 90 days, they found significant reductions in their CRP values, their IL-6, their INOS, and their TGF beta 1, also their urinary angiotensinogen. Hey, Aidnir, thanks for coming. And hey, Nancy, good to see you. Thanks for coming. So inflammation causes a lot of disease, and you'll hear about inflammation not just in chronic kidney disease, like what the study was looking at, but also in hypertension, in any of your immunosuppressive disorders. Inflammation's a huge deal. Your digestive health, inflammation comes into play. Anything that we can do to try to keep the inflammation in our bodies down is just an amazing thing. And you can see there was significant reductions in these lab values or biomarkers that are used to measure the amount of inflammation in the body. There was also improvement shown in their mean arterial pressure and pulse pressure, and no adverse effects noted to their renal function. So anybody who's wondering if this herb is good for people who may have compromised kidney function, yes, it is good for that. Another one for nicotine dependence and biomarkers, and this was another aromatherapy. I'm surprised I pulled 2 of these. Surprised I pulled 2 of those. Wow, that's really interesting, though, that it really does help with folks that are trying to quit smoking. All right. Anybody have any questions for me? I feel like I went really fast today. All right, so we talked about using this herb to make a salve for muscle and bone aches and pains and joints and things. We also talked about a tea, and I shared one tea that would be lemongrass plus ginger. I'm looking at the phone because I can see the chat. Sorry, guys. Lemongrass and ginger, and then add in some coconut milk to that. Just amazing. I can't wait to do that. It also pairs beautifully with lemon balm, tulsi, chamomile, and lavender. I've used it with those before. Like I said, I've mainly used lemongrass as an ingredient, not necessarily to accomplish any kind of herbal medicine, goal with it. But after reading all of this, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I ever have anybody reach out to me that wants help in quitting smoking, I'm definitely going to be mentioning lemongrass as a room spray, maybe even like a pillow spray. Definitely, like maybe even incorporating it if you have like your own deodorant and you're trying to quit smoking, use lemongrass in there. it's good for more than one reason. Like I make my own deodorants and I've used lemongrass in there just because of the antibacterial part. Um, but what another great reason to use that for anybody who's quitting smoking, and the relaxation factor. That's awesome. I have used it as an antifungal shampoo for our dog, and it smells amazing. Here's my recipe, guys. You can write this down. 8 drops tea tree essential oil, 6 drops lemongrass essential oil, and 10 drops lavender essential oil. It smells amazing. The dog loves it. It also helps to prevent your dog from getting like fleas and ticks, and it helps to treat any like yeast growth they might have on their skin. So that's what I have used it for. All right, let me quit sharing here. All right. All right. Any questions? Anybody have? This was fun. Went really fast too. Before we end, I will tell you there's another herb that I'm wanting to go and do a monograph on, and that's goticola. This guy. Let me see. Right here. This one. I want to do a monograph on that one. I love to infuse that in like an almond oil or an avocado oil and use it on my face. And it's supposed to be great for your brain. Hey, Mona did what? Thank you for coming. But I think that would be a fun one to do a monograph on. And another one that I'm wanting to do a monograph on because I have it growing. And I'm just thinking there's probably more ways to use this than what I'm even aware of, and that's lamb's ear. So interested to hear, does anybody? Yes, in that regard it is, Anne. Yep. A great tonic herb. Lemongrass would be considered a great tonic herb. It's a food. I mean, it's in so many Asian recipes that they're eating it almost every day. But I want to know from all of you, is there any herbs that you're wanting to know more about? Evening primrose, that's a good one. I tried to grow that last year, the year before last, and it's probably where I put it because I was trying to grow it in my woods, and it didn't grow well. But that's a good one, Nancy. That would be a good one to do. Because when I think evening primrose, I think herb for women and use it on my face. Those are like the two things. And I'm sure there's more to that herb than that. Anybody else have any herbs that they'd like me to do a monograph on? Also, in the not too distant future, we're going to be doing a name that herb. Try to grow it much, but it doesn't work there. Yeah. Fenugreek. That's a good one, Anne. Make some soap with. You mean like herbs to make soap with in general, or are you meaning lemongrass, making soap with lemongrass? Honeysuckle. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. That one's also, I feel like, I think I've got honeysuckle's also used in traditional Chinese medicine, and it's called Japonica something. Where is it? I feel like I just got some of that. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I did. Jinyanhua Lonicera japonica. It's Japanese honeysuckle. But I have that herb. I mean, I don't know if you can. They smell like honeysuckle. Kinda, because it's been dried. Smells good. Soap with lemongrass. Yeah, Aidenir. That's a good one. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. Oh, and jasmine. Love that idea too. All right. Awesome, guys. Yeah, right now I've been doing it in order of harvest. Like everything I'm harvesting. Okay. Well, I guess that's it. We're going to end early tonight. Just a heads up, if anybody has been following the Grow What You Eat collaboration that was hosted by Simply Jan Homestead and Resourceful Living Homestead and Butler Family Farm, they're doing a giveaway. I think it's the day after, it's either tomorrow or the next day, the second or third, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. That was my aromatherapist. So I picked it. Oh, very cool. Hope you all have a good night and hope you have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you next week. Go do all the herby things. Thanks everybody for coming. See you next time. Bye.